good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever the time of day or whatever part of the world you're in. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I know your face was like
It's
Monday.
Monday again already. Where happened to the weekend?
It was long, but it did also seem like it flew by at the same time. So that's a very interesting feeling. It's a strange feeling.
Mm. Yeah, we had two public holidays, Thursday and Friday. So last week I tried to do 5 days work in a 3-day week, and
Oh,
but that I didn't beat myself up about it, but it was like I was determined not to work in the weekend. But then I sort of had all these things going, you haven't done me, you haven't done me.
yeah,
Like, oh well, these are the
yeah,
joys of being self-employed, isn't it?
yeah. I understand that. It's very difficult when, we're so used to being on in that go 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 frame of mind, and even society kind of creates that for us.
Yeah.
And then we find ourselves in these periods of I just can't. And sometimes I'll just find myself kind of acting like a zombie, moving blindly through the house looking for something to do, but I just don't have the energy to do it. And you find yourself thinking, well, what a waste. What a waste. I could have done so many magical things today and I didn't do any of them. But at the end of the day, nothing is ever wasted, is it? It's
No,
so
no.
important to let ourselves rest when we need
I
to.
I think that's what I miss about having a job though, because I've been self-employed for so many years, and when it's your own things you haven't done, you have much more, what I do, have much more of a sense of responsibility, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, not when I was a nurse, I think, but before that, like worked in a bank, and when I was 16, I went and worked in a bank, and when I left at 5 o'clock, I wouldn't think about anything until the
Mm-hmm.
next morning. I couldn't care less, While I was there, I would do my job, and then I kind of missed that a little bit. I miss sick leave. I miss sick pay.
Yeah.
I miss that feeling of being able to go to bed and like be in and go, oh, I'm still getting paid.
Yeah. No, we don't get that when we're self-employed. No. But, it is, I think, a task for us to find the balance to
Yes.
between the work and play, because I know myself, like I don't want to say that I'm a workaholic, but I feel like I always need to be creating. And it does make it a struggle because I never shut off, and
Mm.
or I'm always answering my phone and my messages, or you're constantly thinking about something else that needs to be done. And it's not, I guess our task is to love what we do and stay loving what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I always go, if I pretty much I always go for a walk every day. But even there I squeeze in a rune or something. There's always some purpose to the walk, because there's always something I need to sort of get some help and support with,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So like every day there's always like, or thinking about like some problem that I need to solve, or and that will happen on the walk. I don't go out thinking about it. I'll take a rune or I'll ask someone for help, and then I go out for a walk, and usually by the time I've come back in half an hour, then I've got sort of support and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's what I need to do. I haven't gone live. Oh,
Oh,
oh, perhaps
I was just about to check that.
we were just so busy getting into the chatting there, weren't we?
Oh,
So,
well, I mean, we are. Mhm. Are we live? We are. We're live
yeah,
on the Cosmic Heart page.
yeah, that's it. And because for some reason on my profile it goes private. I don't know why, and then I have to go on and go public.
Oh.
And then the other thing I have to do, which I've forgotten, when I've done it 100 times, I have to lock this broadcast, because otherwise
Oh
someone else might,
yeah.
which is which is fine if we've invited them.
Right, because you just don't know. It makes things very interesting. I do see we have at least 5 viewers tuning in right now. I can only see Annie. So hello, everyone, and thank you for being here with us this Monday. It is a holiday as well here today in the
Is
States.
it?
It
Wow.
is.
Okay.
And even though today is the actual holiday, we call it Memorial Day. It's a whole weekend. So we have Memorial Day weekend. So this whole weekend has been since Friday. People come together and start to do like, outdoor barbecues. And
Mm,
the reason for the day, though, is to memorialize those who have lost their lives in serving our country. So in
yeah.
military. Yeah. So everybody just kind of comes together and honors the fallen, and then we come together as family as well.
Yeah. That must be quite poignant at the moment with the coronavirus, because it
Mm-hmm.
kind of feels like the people who are getting ill and dying are also somehow involved in, I don't know, it feels like a community
Mm-hmm.
thing, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, how are things? How are things over there?
Well, it's so hard to tell because there are so many conflicting reports and information. One day we're told that we're not supposed to wear masks by the Surgeon General, mind you. We're not supposed to wear masks because they are actually creating more bad than good. And then
Okay.
we're forced to wear them, or we are refused entry into supermarkets and things. Then we were told that we didn't know when we would be allowed to, start opening up businesses and things like that. Well, at least in New Jersey, where I am, suddenly overnight, our governor allowed us to have gatherings of 25 people and less, which is bizarre. I mean, it's fantastic, but it's bizarre. So it's like
Mm,
we're getting information like daily, and some of it contradicts others. So I mean, I don't know how great it is with the curving the amount of cases we're having.
mm.
But I do know that people are now being quarantined even if they don't have symptoms. If they are,
Oh,
if
okay.
for example, I know someone who was went to worked at a facility, his place of work. I'm not sure where. Ended up someone in his job, coworkers came down with it, did have symptoms, so
Mm.
they made everyone in that
Yeah,
workplace get tested.
yeah.
He tested positive, but no symptoms. So they
Oh,
forced
yeah.
14-day quarantine. So it's really you don't it's all over the place, sadly, but I do feel like
Yeah,
some good is happening. I feel like some things are starting to alleviate a bit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just sort of, I don't know. Here it's nothing very much has happened in Denmark and things have opened up, but we haven't opened the borders yet, but they're going to open quite soon. There was a lot of political pressure on sort of the governing political party to get things open, and the other political party sort of ganged up against them
Mm.
and voted to get things open. So I think so right now it's probably the safest time to go out and get your hair cut before everything opens again, and inevitably
Yeah.
it will start to rise. But I just deal with the now,
Hmm.
like right now.
That's right.
Okay, right now,
and, and that's all we
can
can
do this.
do.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a good weekend. Friday, I'll tell you, after the show, it was like a rush of energy, and then all of a sudden I was exhausted. I don't know how you felt. I know a few other people had messaged me saying they just whew. And I think it was just facilitating, what happens when you rest, when you sleep, when you feel that you're having like very like serious work being done, even if you don't realize
Yeah,
it. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I still feel like I'm processing it. I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, it's on the Evolving into the Cosmic Heart page. It was our transmission that me and Jamie did on Friday, and we sort of worked together very sort of telepathically, I'd like to say, and just we just this energy wanted to come in, and it came in, and I also downloaded it onto YouTube. today, because it's so hard. Things get so lost on Facebook, and I didn't think this would really work as an audio thing. I think to see it visually feels quite important, and I put that on YouTube. But I didn't watch any of it. Normally I watch it through when we've done the show to see what it's at. I couldn't, because I'm still processing the energies. I don't have the energy to connect to that again, because that was just like, it was phenomenal, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah, it was beautiful the way that it just flowed, and what came through. It was one of those things that you're just going, wow. I think we did too. I think we did during it. We were like, wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
And so many
yeah,
people, reaching out and responding that, they just felt their hearts and, their energy. I actually had one person reach out to me saying specifically they felt like they were guided to me specifically to find that transmission, if that makes sense, because we weren't friends prior to that. And that transmission was exactly what they needed. And they just felt it come through their entire body, out their feet.
yeah. I do think, like, in the days and weeks ahead, we'll sort of work out a little bit more of what it was about, because there's something significant about it. And like I said, because I can't bring myself to connect back to it yet. I don't know what it is, but it was really,
Yeah.
really phenomenal. I mean,
And
didn't
sometimes
expect.
that's what it is. Sometimes it's not something that we can even begin to break it down in our language. It's just like a conscious knowing, it just.
Yeah, and I think we all get, like, when these energies come in, we all get what we need. Like, years ago, when I first started, like, there was a place called St Michael's near where I lived in Surrey, and people used to do services there where they channeled ascended masters and things like that. And I remember the first time I went there, I was just like, my mouth just like, because I could feel when they started channeling it, I could feel all this stuff like around my third eye, and I'd never had these experiences before, and it was so bizarre. And I could also feel like I was getting, like, direct revelations as they were doing it, like, because you do, don't you? When someone else is channeling, you sort of get extra bits like coming into you, and I was just like, because I wasn't a believer, shall we say. I'm not much of a believer, but I experienced it myself, and so I was like, my God, this is really, really happening. So I know when I watch the transmission back, like, I can feel there's a new thing, a new energy coming in to work with me, and I've got an idea what it is, but I'll watch it back. I think, because I think they're there. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's always exciting. New
Yeah.
energies coming in to assist, and I think that and that seems right for the time where we're kind of stepping up, we're coming online, and those of us who have started out a little early in this position where we're starting to work with energies and share information with others to help bring about more awareness. It feels like even we are getting upgraded, and it's like stepping into stuff that I don't think was even previously available to us, if that makes sense. And it's all just such new territory. So receiving new guides makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. And it is a bit scary. It's a bit like, oh, I'm so used to sort of the old way, and,
Yeah.
the old energies and all the rest of it. Like, and I didn't really expect it, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still was like,
it was lovely. And I really do look forward to being able to do that once a month, hopefully, as long as we're guided, because we try to really go and flow. But I don't feel like that's going to be an issue. I feel like this is what we've been waiting for. I feel like this is what the higher ups have kind of been waiting for, to connect with that energy, and let's bring it on through, and let's work together.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Spirit want more people to work like this, how we're doing, sort of not just singly, but, more than one, however, whether that's two or three or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of, it doesn't just happen. I remember reading a book years ago about working in a coven and about how you needed to be very clear and all the rest of it. You have to put effort into sort of really having integrity in your
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and because energy is just like, you can't get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you neglected something, it'll just bite you. I'm going to say in the behind, but I'll do it. There's more polite. It's like you have to really work through all that stuff. So, but I think we're coming to a point now where a lot of people do have that
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness, actually, because we've been working on this self-development for many years. A lot of us, it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
we do know what we have to do and how to work with it and all the rest of it, and it never stops. I don't think it ever. I don't. Maybe, but I'm expecting to just keep having to work on this stuff until all the
Yeah.
time I'm here.
Yeah.
Because if there's not my stuff, there's the ancestral
That's
stuff,
right.
and if there's not the ancestral stuff, there's the cultural stuff, and then it just it's just layers and
Layers and
it never
layers and
stops.
layers. Yeah. And that's an interesting, it's an interesting thing that you said about, if you don't work through your stuff, like it'll just come back to bite you, that is true. I can say on this journey, I have worked with many, many different energies, many different people, in many different settings. And my first path connecting with others was in a coven setting. And I will say that I don't regret any of it, because it taught me a lot about
Yeah,
myself, and it taught me a lot about working with others and learning firsthand how you do have to really deal with your stuff. You also have to really deal with trusting the energies that you work with. It's got to
yeah,
be a co-creation. And last night,
yeah.
I actually had a dream. And one of the messages in the dream, or I should say one of the symbolic visuals, was that I was running through, it looked like on the outside, I was shown two layers of what I was seeing. There was a higher realm, a different realm, and then there was the physical realm that we would see on the surface. In the surface, I was in a hotel and I worked with another hotel employee. And we were told that we were chosen to go through this maze of doors, right? So when we said we had to work together, though, that's what it said we had to work together. And one person was needed to hold the door open so it didn't close, while the other person had to unlock the other door. So you had no choice. There was no way getting around it. You had to work together. And on the other layer, what I was being shown, it looked very almost like spaceshipy, with the colors, or in like a lab or something. And all these doors that you could choose had numbers. There was 7, 9, and 10 were the numbers I saw. We chose to go in number 7. So yeah, and then there was like an elevator involved, and then there was somebody talking to me who felt very much like Ascended Master Sarah or Mary Magdalene. I can't be sure, but it was one of their energies. And so I was even in another layer receiving instruction on what to do back in the physical surface. So all these layers are happening at once. But my point is, there's no room for ego. There's no room for me. It's all about we and co-creative. And that message was loud and clear.
Wow, what an amazing
Yeah, there
dream.
was more to it, but I won't go into it. But there was so many interesting facets of it. Wow.
Yeah, but that makes me think of the transmission on Friday, because it's like that thing. So you and me had a conversation about light language a while ago, and it's not something I've you know been into that much, and I went and watched some people on YouTube doing light language, and I could feel there was a lot of stuff around the head, but it didn't seem to be going anywhere.
Mm,
And I was like, yeah, it's great, but
right. Right.
I could feel like I wanted to like pull it down and ground it. And then like when we're working, you do a bit, and then I do a bit, and then you do a bit, and I do a bit. And each of those things, it's like we're holding the door
Each
open for
other.
each other
Absolutely.
so that something else is happening. And it's like, wow, that's
Yeah, that
good.
I feel like, you can only go so far with that me mentality. I mean, it is about
Yeah.
working together, building each other. You get through the door, you hold your hand out to pull the other one up. that's just something that this is going to be the way, the new way, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah, I love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
So we have quite a few people tuning in with us. I'm just going to say hello to everyone. And we have Meredith, Deborah, Lala, and Laura or Lara, and Netta.
Hello,
Jillian, wow,
everyone.
welcome everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you for being here with us all. Yeah.
And I can see, oh, yeah, Noreen. Noreen saying it's like tennis, back and forth over the net.
I like that. Hi, Noreen.
So we're not smacking it really hard
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
You're doing that thing where you make it nice and easy for the other person to catch it, and then you see how long you can keep going.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
We've got Krista and Aroha. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Aroha.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, because you get when you stream it to your page, you have people that are viewing on there that aren't necessarily viewing on the Cosmic Heart. I did notice that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just all those people out there. You just never know where they're going to be.
Yeah, well, as as long as we're all coming together, it works, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. So yes, St Sarah. So yesterday and today it is they have a big procession in France. Saint Sarah, she's a Romany gypsy. There is also a Catholic
Mm-hmm.
Saint Sarah, but she's a different thing. I think she's that from the Old Testament,
Mm.
that Saint Sarah. But Saint Sarah, the Romany gypsies, they carry her down to the sea. They carry her statue down to the sea, and they have their babies baptized. There's a crypt down in the church, and people get blessed in their marriages, and lots of prayers for having, happy lives. And it's a lot of people attend. I would love to go one day. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
Should we all
let's
do
do that. From your
that?
lips to the universe's ears.
But I also thought maybe next year, I don't know, I thought we should do a thing. We should do a thing. If we can't all go there, we'll have to do an online thing next year, because so many more, I keep saying this every week. I'm sorry if I'm being a bit boring, but so many more people are waking up to Sarah. She's
Mm-hmm.
suddenly having
Yeah.
conversations with people, and it's like, wow, it's really, really magical. And I really feel she is like heralding this age in for us, these energies. She's like,
Yeah.
and that's why suddenly
Yeah.
people are
Well, I
like,
mean, and it's it's what she
what's happening?
embodies. It's where what she
Yeah.
embodies is where we're going. So, or what we're already coming into. So the
Mm.
whole, the oneness and the integration of unity and all that magical, what's your word? Yumminess. The magical
Yeah,
yumminess.
that's it.
Yeah, I love it.
And it is, and that's it. All of Sarah's yumminess is coming in now, because for years, like for me, working with her, there's been so much clearing work going on, and it's been hard work, really hard work. And now all the goodies are coming, it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I find that interesting
Yeah,
about the message that I shared and that came out with her was the
yeah, yeah.
acknowledgement. And I think, for people, like us and like you have been working with her much longer, obviously. She started to kind of come onto my radar just a couple of years ago, which is what led me to you. But like you said, the work you've been doing, it was hard work. And I think that's what she was acknowledging when she sent me that message, which was, we see what you're doing and we want you to know. Like, I almost felt like she's saying, like, you give us all of the credit, not just me as you. She said you as we
Mm,
were as one. And you give us all the credit, but really you're doing the work. This is what makes masters, by doing the work and the imprints of what you will leave behind. So I thought that was just beautifully, and I felt so honored hearing that. So I, absolutely, this goes for you. This goes for everyone doing this sort of work.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when I first connected with her, like even just looking at her energy, you know, because I had this painting behind me done. Like I think Cheryl painted that for me in 2006, and I asked her to do it because like I was constantly seeing green all the time when I shut my eyes, and it was Sarah, and I just wanted something outside of myself that I could look at and talk to. But it would bring up all my shadow stuff. And then I'd have to go and work away with all my shadow stuff. And I used to have like long breaks away from Sarah's energy. And then I would go back for a few more months. And then I would have some months off because it was just too much. But I'd been a, psychiatric nurse, and I'd been having a lot of my own therapy. And I was used to like having to deal with shadow stuff, and it just went on like that for years. It was just like one thing after another. I mean, that's what I've been doing since 2006, really. I mean, I did some work in between it, but it's been heavy. It has been heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've only been doing this work with her for maybe 2 years, maybe. And I will say it's been quite a challenging experience for sure. Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
not her,
Yeah.
it's
No.
what she is integrating that we are making room for.
Yeah. That's it. It's what's in us that
Mm-hmm.
needs to like, come up and be, integrated and healed and all the rest of it. But I like that word transmission that we used on Friday, because I've been feeling for a long time now that healing's not the right word, and there isn't another one, but transmission gets us closest
Yeah.
to it, to what I do these
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
because I'm not fixed
Because
broken
even
things.
channeling sometimes, like if you even use the word channeling, it feels almost like a one-sided thing, like this is coming through me and this is what I'm
Yeah,
giving you. But when we use transmission,
yeah,
I hear like transference of energy, and it's like this magical ebb and flow between everybody. Yeah, we might be sending and transmitting and opening up a door, but there's something
yeah.
co-creative happening in that process. So I like that.
That's it. There's a heaviness to the word healing, and there's a heaviness to the word channeling. That's not there with transmission, but there has to be the ground in there as well, and that's like transmission. It kind of like it comes in and it lands somewhere. It's like it receives. So for me, it's sort of got that. It's got that completeness
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So if you are watching and you have not yet seen the transmission from Friday between myself and Rachel, definitely check it out. It's available on the Cosmic Heart page. I know I've shared it on my personal page. Rachel shared it. She put it on her YouTube. I'm going to put it on my YouTube. It was an important one. And it was interesting because, we do have a private group that we just launched, evolving into the Cosmic Heart group. And we are only going to share specific messages, transmissions, light codes. There's all this new magical stuff that's starting to come through us. And we're only going to be sharing it in that private group. That group has been free for the month of May. As of June 1st, we are going to begin to actually charge a small monetary fee for our time and energy, really. But we hope to be able to do these transmissions every month. And we tried to initially just put it in the group, even though the group is still free. And technology or the
It wasn't
powers that be said, no, this has to come out. And I'm so happy that it did, because it gave, it needed to come out.
Yeah. And there's so many people have watched it now on Facebook. It's like hundreds of people
Yeah.
have watched it.
Well, that's wonderful. And the experiences that people are having, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. And it was very cosmic. I was really feeling some very powerful cosmic
Yeah.
energies
Oh, yeah.
going on.
And that's interesting because one of the channeled messages that came through um, and I don't ordinarily channel, I'm just going to say that. This isn't something that I set out to do. Um, Rachel does more of the channeling. I am very new to this. And sometimes I'll sit down and connect, and I think that I'm just like calling in my family of light or my higher self. And I ask for some guidance, and then bam, this whammo message comes out. And I know, oh, this was a different type of a message, Jamie, and this needs to be shared. And so one of the messages that I shared in the our private Cosmic Heart group, it did talk about the cosmic womb specifically, which at the time I didn't really fully get, I guess, the the gist of the whole message, but I'm starting to see it. And when we did that transmission on Friday, I wasn't expecting some of the stuff happen that did. And it really came through not only with the throat, but it came through with the heart, which we kind of expected to happen. But then it went through and connected our wombs and our sacral chakra, man or woman, doesn't matter. Um, so we're all connected to that cosmic womb as well as the cosmic heart space. And part of the dream last night, there was a snake in the dream, and it was the most beautiful colored snake I've ever seen. And it was pink with these bright orange color pattern, stripy, like stripes going through it with yellow. And it had what looked like a heart outside of its body. And that made me feel like the linking of like the solar plexus, the heart chakra, the sacral chakra, and all of these very essential chakras that are being very expanded and cleared right now. Yeah.
Mm. Wow. I want your dreams.
I'm telling you, I got to put them all together and write a book, but I'll have to always do translations because initially they make no sense. You really have to break them down. But yeah.
I have to say, I have the same dreams over and over again about walking along like a coastal path, and there's a town on my left, and the sea's always on the right, and there's dolphins and whales. There's always dolphins and whales, and it's like I have the same dream over and over again. And sometimes I can't find them, and sometimes people are blowing them up, and then and then I have to sort of like deal with all of
Mm.
that. But Thomas, my husband, he's like he's a dream interpretation type person, but from a Jungian perspective. And he said to me that he's stopped trying to analyze my whale and dolphin dreams because they just don't fit. Sort of, he says they're more well, yeah, like they are sort of like spiritual dreams.
Yeah, and
Actually,
if you
it's like
try
you
to
can't.
approach those dreams from a more logical perspective, you aren't fully going to get it.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you what I'm seeing if you'd like. So, what
go
I'm
on.
seeing is that you are standing between two worlds and that you are very much in the lineage of the dolphins and the whales, which are the record keepers. And they hold or are the vessels for ancient wisdom, knowledge, and civilizations. And they are the architects of the new world. And so you are standing between those two worlds where you yourself are bringing those old wisdom, knowledge, records, codes to create the new structure for the new, and I don't like the word structure, but the new architecture, we'll say, for the new world.
Wow, I'm liking that,
You're
Jamie.
welcome.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'm not, I'm not the end all say all, but that's what I see. So,
No, yeah, that makes sense to me. And like when I was a kid, I was like, remember I joined this dolphin club where you've got dolphin posters, and I had dolphins all over my walls, and I used to draw them all over my rough books at school. And I was always dreaming of going and writing stories about being with the killer whales. I love orcas. I really love orcas. And then it was just before I had Benji, I think. When was that? 2011. I started having these constant dreams all the time of like dolphins and whales, and I really got in connection with that. There was a killer whale that was having a
mm,
terrible time. Oh, I can't remember his name, but he's
I
died
I
now.
may have
And
heard of that.
I'm
Was it
like,
with the whole like Sea
yeah,
World?
he killed his trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed his trainer. He pulled her in by her ponytail and he bit her head
Oh,
off, basically. But I was tuning in with him, and he was just psychotic. He was just mad. He was just mad, and he was, of course, this huge animal and this
yeah.
tiny little. And it's not how I was feeling at the time, because I was living in this really built up area in Surrey, and I really needed to move, but circumstances and that I couldn't. And I really felt like I was going crazy as well. And I used to like ask for healing for like both of us, like the violet flame. I
Yeah.
used to ask for the violet flame to come in, and but I feel like he's at
Yeah.
peace
I think
now.
his name started with a T, if I'm not mistaken. He was, yeah. It was
It'll
like
come
he
to
was
me.
like a legend. Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
sad. But I mean, that's what this is all coming up to, like bring up, that sort of awareness too about, how they're being treated and kept and whatnot. But yeah, it does.
yeah. Oh, it
Yeah.
breaks my heart. It's one of my like special things. I carry around a picture of orcas in my bag.
Oh.
When I'm at a special place, I send the energy to them, and because they're not having a much better time in the wild either, because they're full of toxins. Seas, so when killer whales die around sort of America and Canada, they are biohazards because they're so full of
Mm.
toxins, and it's like I get really
Yeah,
upset
yeah, that
about
that
that.
would
But,
it's just devastating. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, we'll have to bring some light language
Yeah,
in about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
don't
Oh
we?
my goodness, I would love to tune in and connect with them and their energy,
Yeah,
and they're being so
yeah,
much more
yeah.
prevalent these days. They really are. They're making themselves known, and not to be dismissed as just these beautiful beings of the sea. I mean, these are galactic, cosmic weavers of
Yeah,
light and love. And they are
yeah,
so love. They're so, when you tune into their energy, it's like it's
yeah, yeah,
home, it's the heart, it's the higher heart space.
yeah.
So, oh my God, maybe that's something we should put on the agenda. Start calling them in, connecting with
Yeah,
them.
I think so. I would love to, because like when I went to Hawaii in 2005, and I swam with the dolphins on the Big Island, and I was in the water with my snorkel, and I could hear them coming through the water, and I was going, I was so excited, I was nearly drowning. And the love energy, it was like it was just so blissful. They were just like, and it was just fantastic, because like the way light comes through the water, and it is like you're in some other dimension. And I never wanted to leave. I mean, I just
Mm.
wanted to live in that water. And like I've always had a bit of a thing about sharks, and part of me is going, there could be sharks in the water, and I'm like, well, at least I'll die happy.
Oh, yeah, sharks might ruin that experience for me. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely I am an admirer of the sea, but I respect it and just kind of step back and admire from afar. Something I have to work through. But yeah, the springs, natural water, natural bodies of water. Not that oceans are not natural bodies of water, but fresh water is what I mean. Um, okay, but the sea, yeah, there's something there. Probably past experience I've got to work through, and I can't see what's by my feet. That's what it is. It's I can't see what's by my feet. So no, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you share that with quite a few people. So yeah, I'm sure I've done I used to do hypnotherapy, and I'm sure I've hypnotized some people before, because they're like, we're so
yeah,
scared about going into water.
yeah. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
say there's a whole lot that I have like a fear of, but that it's like it's fine until I get there. I get there, then it's like the tightness in my chest, which is hard because I love the ocean and I can stand in up to so far, and then it's like okay, I'm okay.
yeah. I actually didn't go to the fjord this morning because I had a really
Oh,
sore throat last night, and it was like got worse this morning, and I can still feel it a bit, but it hasn't sort of turned into anything. but maybe it's just another, more part of the
Yeah.
clearing. So it might actually be gone. You never know, do you? If it's going to go or turn into something more. So
And
I'll
it
find
and it
out in
very
the
well
morning.
could be, like a lot of times I was explaining this to somebody as if you understand metaphysics and metaphysical healing and those other layers that we have when we're having work done, we're not just having it done, we're actually probably not having it done on the physical as much as we're having it done in the higher layers. And those other layers when they start to be cleared, that has to be, the detox, when it comes through most often on your physical body. So we'll start to feel, and even when you're having like an expansion or something done, when you're having expansion done, you tend to feel that. So
I know that's the thing. It's like when a lot of lights come in, I'm always like, oh, here we go. It's like, I know I'm going to go through it, but I'm going to do some ancestral healing and clearing tomorrow evening. I can feel, I've made some time for it. Thomas is going out with one of his friends. I've sent him off. Off we go. And Benji is at respite tomorrow, so I can have a good couple of hours of working with things. But going back to what we were saying about Sarah, it's just because these thoughts sort of drip in, and then when we're talking, it sort of comes into like a clearer picture. And I can feel, so I've been saying more people are hearing her, and like you did the channeling the other day. I can sort of feel like it's freeing me up, actually, like because more people are coming in and connecting with her. Part of me can feel like that a certain amount. I mean, not all of it. I don't think I'm let off quite yet. But a certain amount is like other people are taking on stuff, and then I'm being freed up to do I don't know what. Yeah, it's like they never tell me all at once. They let me find out like a little bit at a time, because otherwise I would just go, I wouldn't cope anyway. I'd be like, oh, not because it is something amazing, just I don't cope that well with change.
yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You did a lot of planting the seeds and bringing the awareness forward. And it was interesting because one of the words that really stuck out to me, it was a word that I kind of questioned, had to just be like, stop it, Jamie, just go with whatever you're hearing, when I was actually translating it and writing it all down from that message I received, was vessels. Coming through, working through her vessels. And that kind of made me take a step back, and I was like, well, I tried to kind of analyze that word a second, like, well, what exactly does that mean, but I didn't. I just left it be. But I mean, that makes sense, with, you'll hear many people say, I don't know, ascended master so and so is my guide, and many people will have it. And it's because depending on what your soul purpose is, what your contracts are, what you're doing here, you have those energies step forward to work specifically, with such amount of people. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now you can step back, and now you're ready to receive maybe a new guide, a new energy to work with.
Yeah. And I've always called Sarah a mentor or a mentor guide, because there's this, like, you were talking about, there's this element of, you are coming into mastery. She's not there to be a guide. She's there as a really powerful catalytic energy. And this is the thing about channeling Sarah or working with Sarah, is when you make that connection, she does stuff to you. You start to, you are embodying something of this archetypal energy that she holds, not just for yourself, but for the human race, grounding it and anchoring it. And that's it. I think, that's like I'm saying, more people, I can feel more people are coming in and doing that. And I don't think I'm the only one that's been doing it. I think there's been a lot of people
doing
unconsciously. But there is something about, like, I think I've had as much transforming as like I can take for the time being, and I need to like plateau because it has been really, 14 years of intense like and I was trying to think of the word. So it was sort of bits were coming to me when I was out for my walk this afternoon, and bits were coming to me. And there's something I can't think. A lot of English words fall out of my head now, and because a lot of the people that I speak English to, it's English as a second language. So there's a lot of words I don't use anymore. And also there's a lot of Danish words because I read quite a lot of Danish and listen to quite a lot of Danish. I don't speak it so much unless I have to. But so there's a lot of, there's not a lot of space anymore for these English words. And I really do forget a lot of English words. But it's a word that means, like, when you've learnt a lot and you have to process it all and it all comes together, whatever that word is, I feel it's something or other, or not cooperation, but something. I was thinking coagulation. I was thinking that's what happens to eggs, Rachel, when you cook them. It's either that or I've got early onset
assimilate.
dementia.
Yeah.
Yes, that kind of thing. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's nearly there. Yeah, I'm
I completely understand that. I mean, there's sometimes I'll read like these really, I don't read a lot, but when I do, well, I shouldn't say that. I read a lot, not actually books, but I read a lot like online with different articles and whatnot. But sometimes when I do read like very powerful spiritual books, some of the information that's in there, I tend to notice, and I've talked to other people about this, I tend to notice that I'll read it and then I can only read so much. And I might put that book down for months and not pick it back up. And then all of a sudden I'll get called back to it and I'll pick it up again and I read it again. Then I set it down for a few months. And what's happening is we are assimilating the energy and we're adjusting bit by bit. So that's like really integrating as well. Like you're integrating the knowledge and the information, and then you're learning how to, your energy field or your consciousness is adjusting with it or something.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's like me, when I learn things, I want to teach them straight away. And like I'm doing that with the Ascension Room work, and I love that. But with the Sarah work, it has happened in pieces over the years, but now I can feel like I'm putting together like a healing system now, and I can feel it's been a much bigger work. It's taken a lot of years, and then I'm going to put it away in a way that's actually quite simple. You know what I mean? All these years of work, it's actually going to come out in a fairly simple form, and that's my plateau when I sort of do that. And then I don't know what will happen after that. Maybe I'll get to retire. No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, you never know. You never know. But really, what is retiring, really? Just the next level.
Well, I should be in Malta right now on holiday with my eldest son, Josh, from the UK, and Thomas and Benji. But, that's not happening. So if retirement could be maybe a long trip to Malta.
Oh, yeah, I could totally see you in Hawaii. Yeah. And honestly, your dream, it's a reoccurring dream, which is very fascinating. When dreams reoccur, it's to really drive the message home, to really help you finally understand what it is that dream's trying to teach or show you. And I really was feeling like the ocean represented with the other world, and then you had the town that represented like the physical world. And I felt like the ocean was like Lemuria, and we all know that Hawaii is a remnant of ancient Lemuria. So yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
Lovely. A blissful moment there.
Yeah. Oh, look, we have an interesting comment from Annie. She says, to me, transmissions offer memories. It's a very interesting way to see that. I guess I can understand that. She said, changeling transmission, is it not remembering? I mean, I guess if you look at it that way, it could be, because the way that I see light language transmissions, and this might just be me. I mean, I don't know, maybe everybody experiences things their own way. But for me, when I am transferring a transmission, it's very customized per each individual, and it is very customized per that session and what's happening. And sometimes the way that I see them is that these are a download of information, codes, and activation, which could be to trigger dormant memories, or gifts kind of waiting to be awoken until the right time, because everything is about divine timing. It really is. And when we are ready to be able to embody that awareness. So I do feel like, yes, it could absolutely be for activation of memories, not as much as we're transferring memories, but we are transferring information. So who knows what's in that information? It's
I tell you what that makes me think of, and that is, so a while ago I was doing some ancestral work, but not in a healing way, in a activation type way, and that was working with the runes. It was incredible. I'll talk about that another time. But one of the things that I got from doing this work was I could sense, like, right to the back of someone's ancestral line, like when it started, and it was just this incredible purity, but also that each person's ancestral line, it has gifts and codes and energies and a job. It has a job. And that's another thing that I feel like we're coming into now. It's like, so there's been spiritual teachers around, much more than, like, when I was a child in 1970, there was very few things around. Now there's a lot of people doing teaching, but I feel that that's just going to go up to another level as people realize that they also have special gifts, and in ways that we can't even imagine right now. Things are going to start waking up. I think this is what I was trying to say when I was saying about the Mists of Avalon book last week. When I'm reading it, I'm thinking, do you know what, Rachel? They could actually do this and more. And we've, like, become very barbaric in a way where we've lost this sophistication. And I think so that is kind of a DNA memory, isn't it? These things need to, like,
online.
come back online. I'll just mention one more thing I found during the week that was really interesting. I was reading, there's this guy called Peter Dawkins who works a lot. He's an English guy who works a lot with earth energies. And I can't remember why I started looking it up, but it was in relation to some energy group that used to work around here in Sjælland in Denmark, where I live. And I found these texts in Danish, and old ones, and got them from the library. And he was saying, and this, so I'm quite proud of myself because I was reading this in Danish. Peter Dawkins was saying that on Iona, it was part of Atlantis that is now submersed in water. Because do you remember I was holding up that bit of stone and I was saying I got it from this temple, and at the time I got it, it was a sun temple from Atlantis. And like you, normally I'm like all about Lemuria, but it was very clear that this was a sun temple from Atlantis. And when I read this, I thought, my God, there was loads more of it under the water. And that was actually at the top of the mountain. It was just so clear as day. That sun temple was at the top of a mountain, and now it's, a lot of the time it's underwater, partly submerged until the tide goes out. I was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It is one of the places that I want to go. I absolutely, and well, the place here that's called Column it's a stone megalith park that has been recreated as per divine inspiration. To the owner, this is his land. Built this to basically simulate the Isle of Iona. So. Yes, he was. He passed away sadly about 2 years ago. Sadly, yeah. But his land is still open. It's run by I believe his family members, and there's even it's a small little church like structure, like little temple dedicated to Saint Columba. So yeah, so it's very much like he had visited Iona, and he just, when you get that, I mean, the amount of work that has gone into creating this place is just, wow. There's a fairy circle called the Celtic Eye. I mean, I'll have to, I know you've seen some of the photos, but Thor's Gate with massive standing stones creating a gateway. I mean, it's just, so yes, I have to go to the real one as well.
Yeah. I'd like to come and see that one day, because I'm sure there's like really amazing energetic connections that have been built up between the two places. It feels so serendipitous.
I'm sure there's no coincidence there.
And it'd be really nice to go and like bury some Iona greenstone in the ground there as well.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
And so my temple is nearby, my spiral. My spiral is nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I was sitting on mine today in the sun, getting a bit of clearing.
Mine, we're just starting to be allowed to go back to those places now. So where both of my spirals are, and they have been swarmed to the point that I've heard that there's like no parking. Yeah, so I'm holding back, tuning in, connecting, but I'm holding back a little bit. So hopefully soon.
Yeah. So, wow, we've nearly been talking for
time
an hour.
flies.
So what was I thinking? That was it. So this group that Jamie and I have created, there's transmissions and we're given ascension tools and stuff like that. But the basis of it is like it's a group for people to come into to find these things in themselves. So the transmissions and that will help, but it's also about the energy that we're creating in that group. And then I think we were thinking sort of the last weekend of the month, people can use it as like a practice platform to share things that they've been doing that maybe they haven't tried in a public arena. It's a safe place to do it. Or I mean, you could just share something that you share that you don't have any worries about. It just to go, hello, this is me. But it's about us becoming these new humans.
Yeah,
really, isn't
it?
And
again, like part of that is when you were talking, I just keep hearing like tribe. And it really does. It makes me feel like people coming together as part of tribes to really work together, and we're all kind of like coming on like it's like why we started this podcast, which was because we trigger each other and we activate one another. And one thing I do or say initiates a spark in you, and you then initiate a spark in someone else. So that's the purpose of the group. It's really the purpose of the group. So,
yeah. So we really hope you'll come and join us.
And going forward, that's pretty much where all of our transmissions will be, is in the group once a month. And then along that month, we share many things as they come to us like rapid fire. So we've been sharing quite a bit this month, and all of that information is still there and will be there. Even if you decide to sign up after June, all of that information is still there. And we currently have a contest going on, and we're going to announce the winner. What did we say?
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Because so we'll leave it for people to listen to this for the next day, and then because there's such a big time difference between where we are and like different places of the world, it's like Europe is quite a lot in front of like the States, and so it would actually be Wednesday, and I'll see if I can get Benji
go live and pull some names out of a hat. Oh, that'll be adorable. Yeah.
Well, could be.
I'm sure he'll
just in.
Okay.
It'll be interesting, whatever. Like, never film with children and animals.
Yeah.
It'll have that edge of drama.
So with that contest, you can find that on the Cosmic Heart page. We'll share it again so that everybody can find it easily. Really, all we're asking you to do is just provide some feedback, if you'd like, on how you have found the information that Rachel and I are coming together to share here every week on our discussions. And if you have any ideas for information or topics you would like us to cover, we're absolutely open to hearing that as well. And then we'll choose someone, and the winner is going to receive 2 months free in our Evolving into the Cosmic Heart group. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Are we complete for today? Have you got anything else,
I
Jamie,
I
that you
did
wanted
not,
to
but I know that you like
for us
to often do a little bit of a care, and coming together, do a little care. And I don't know if you had
do? Yeah.
anything on the top of your head, but I was thinking that because in the States it is Memorial Day and we are celebrating the fallen of those who have served. And it doesn't have to be just in the United States, obviously, those who have served for us to have this beautiful freedom of expression that we do have today. If we wanted to, just take a few moments and maybe do a little care and love sent.
That sounds
Sure,
lovely, Jamie. Do you
sure.
want to do
All
that?
right. All right, everybody. So we're just going to have you just close your eyes for a moment and take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And as you release your breath, just going to ask you to allow all your stress, all of your thoughts and worries for the day to just fall away. And just take another deep breath in. And as you release, just bring your awareness down from your mind, dropping into your heart space. And begin to feel your heart. Feel yourself coming into that place of just love. Feeling how much love you have to share with the world. And as you take another deep breath in, release. And I want you to envision your surroundings falling away as we instead come together in this astral plane, all of us coming together in a circle of light and love. And see us coming together, holding hands, seeing that light and love and feeling that love in your heart radiate outward to the person on your left and the person on your right. In the center of that circle, let us place that love and that light together, beaming it out in gratitude and love for all of those souls that served humanity in some way or another, not limiting to solely those that are human, but even those service animals that served, that lost their lives in that brave battle for us to be able to freely express ourselves here and to be free. And we give great thanks to them. And we send out that love and just filling this circle with love, allowing it to move through the entire planet. Now take that love and give some of that love to yourself by placing your hands upon your own heart center. Because you too are in service to humanity. And we thank you. And we also honor you. And so it is. Blessed be.
Blessed
Amen.
be. Amen.
And you can open your eyes, everyone. When you're ready. Oh, thank you.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Perfect day. Perfect.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for being here. And me and
Yes,
Jamie will
thank you,
have a
everybody.
look
Thank you
through the
so much for being here
comments.
with us and sharing. And please, yes, absolutely comment. And, even those watching back in replay, we absolutely enjoy having the comments and the feedback. Okay.
Yeah. So I hope you have a good week.
Enjoy your week, and we will see you next week.
Bye for now.